What's up everybody and welcome back to another video. If you are coming back again and you're a regular here, thank you and hi, how are you doing? And if you're new, hi, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. I'm Adriana. I'm a little brown girl who does makeup and does all sorts of random stuff while she does her makeup. Or talks about random stuff while she does her makeup, so welcome to the madhouse. Today we are doing part 2 of our book reviews, more like story time series, and we're going with book 2 of the Folk of the Air by Holly Black series. We're doing The Wicked King this week, the lovely Wicked King. This is the Wicked King? Yeah, the Wicked King. If you haven't seen my first one, I'll put a link to it in the description box, so you can always go and look at that one as well, so you know like where we are. I'm warning you now, this is just going to be full of spoilers, so if you have not read the books and you don't want spoilers, I wouldn't watch this video, okay? Give it to somebody else who doesn't really care but wants to just know about the book. Give it to them. But if you don't want spoilers, I wouldn't, recommend watching the video because it's going to be full of them. So, I've put my highlight on, by the way, and I'm just doing my blush now, by the way. So, in book 2, if you already seen the first one, Cardin is now High King of Elfheim. Jude made sure that happened because in her head she's thinking, we can't have Oak on the throne because then Maddox will just rule through Oak and just be the tyrant that he is. And Oak is only about 7 or 8, so she has to figure out some way to get Cardin to stay on that throne until Oak is 18, essentially, right? So Jude is doing what she does best. She is making sure that she's treating herself, or inoculating herself with poisons and things, so she can't get poisoned and die. She's still learning or getting better at her spy skills, but the thing is, she is essential to the High King of Elfheim. She kind of is the person who is essentially running the whole show because Cardin really cannot be asked with anything. He's like, I don't even want this. You're here, so you made me do it. So you kind of got to deal with it now. So that's essentially, she's just running around trying to do that. And the rest of the court of spies, they're still, helping her and doing whatever she needs to do, really. And the only person who they're trying to get, information out of is Balkin. And Balkin is currently in the Tower of Forgetting. But he somehow still lives quite lavishly, even though he's in a prison tower. Because he, is a prince of Elfheim, essentially, so. And then Jude, she tried to go talk to him once, right? And one of the guards, he tried to jump her. I think he, cut her or stab her or something. But she still managed to, get the upper hand. And she put him on the back of her horse and took him back to their lair as such, to be questioned. And all this time, Oak is living in the human world with Vivian and Vivian's girlfriend. Yeah, so they're living together with Oak. Oak doesn't know any better. Maddox and Oriana are still displaced somewhere or other. And Jude and Tauren don't talk to each other. Really? So they're just like, yep, I'm not gonna talk to you. And bear in mind, Tyron is engaged to Locke. So remember, Locke was flirting with Jude when he really wanted to marry Tyron, which is kind of weird considering they're twin sisters. It's kind of icky. So while, Jude and they are still trying to figure out all of this stuff about Elfheim and trying to keep Elfheim stable, one night what happens is, because obviously the court of spies are now the inner circle who protect the king, essentially, because Jude is, doing her thing. Cardin is still running around being his rampant, extravagant self, drinking himself into blacking out, hooking up with every creature that's there, doing whatever he wants to do, and leaving Jude to clean up the mess. So one night, Cardin gets shot at, not aiming to kill him, and everybody then started to point at Jude and be like, well, you're the only person who has access to his bedroom, or his quarters rather, from that angle, because it came out from his wardrobe, and in the wardrobe was like the like secret passageways throughout the kingdom, or the castle anyway. So everybody's like, well, you're the High King. You're the High King Central. Like, what are you doing? So she follows it, and you know, they're trying to figure it out, because everybody also thinks, because one of the people that Carden was in bed with, people think that Carden just got really monstrous, and like his previous I don't even know what to call it, like his previous mischievous self, and you know, tried to hurt her, which he didn't, because Carden's not like that. And then Jude, when she goes through the passageway, she ends up in where Eldred used to sleep, Eldred's old rooms, because only the High King sleeps there, but Carden doesn't for some reason, because Carden didn't like his dad and all of that. And who does she find in that room? Good old Nakaya. Remember Nakaya? She's the princess of the Undersea. Well, her and Carden were romantically involved once upon a time. They were really good friends, and then it turned into more. And then they stopped being romantically involved when she cheated on him with Locke. So yeah, that was a thing. And Jude just finds her like on Eldred's old bed, wrapped in like a pretty silky dressing gown, because she just has really nice clothes because she's a princess. And then Jude is like, oh, you weren't trying to kill him. You were trying to get in bed with him, and you just got jealous because he had some other chick in there. Or, you know, 3 other chicks. And she's like, yeah, but I didn't mean to, I just got annoyed and I got jealous. And we're all like, girl, you psycho. Like, you cheated on the guy, leave him alone. Like, he's allowed to do what he wants with who he wants. You cheated on him. Shut up. And Jude is like, fine, I'll keep your secret as long as you give me information on your mother, essentially, because they all think, because Jude had gone back to Baelkim in the Tower of Forgetting, and he said, or she was made aware rather, that he was, you know, entertaining the Undersea, or people were some of the sea people were climbing up the side of the tower and literally talking to him through the grates in the wall, trying to conspire and, you know, get him out of there. So they're thinking that Nakaya's mum is trying to, you know, sort something out with Baelkin so that he can become High King, essentially, right? So Jude, she's like, well, I won't tell Carden and all the guards that you tried to kill him, and you just need to give me information on your mama instead. And you'll see Nakaya being who she is. She's like, you know what, fine, go, like, I'll tell you, because I do still love him. Because she still loves him, and it's weird. I'm like, you cheated on him. Why do you still care? Like, what does that, what? Like, for fictional characters, goddamn, you're a psycho. And when Jude was walking, in one of her last visits, from the tower, this woman just, like, grabs her ankle, and she tells her, like, oh, I knew your mother. And when she gets back to their layer headquarters with her and all the spies, they're like, no, that woman, that's Lady Asher, like, that's Carden's mum. You know, she is the one. If she did know your mother, if anybody has anything to say or to tell you about how all of this happened, it's gonna be her. But everybody already knew that Lady Asher, she didn't want Carden. I love I'm doing my makeup. I'm meant to be doing my makeup, but I'm not. I'm just sat here talking to you. So let me fix that real quick. Alright, anyway, like I was saying. So everybody's like, Lady Asher, she didn't want Carden. She was just one of, you know, Eldred's mistresses. Like, she was never meant to have the power that she had, rather. And she didn't, like, she was just wanting to be a lady of the court. She didn't want any responsibility. Like, she left Carden to wean off of cat milk. She left him in clothes that, you know, she made sure he was clothed, but then she only changed it once. It was literally in rags and in tatters. Like, she didn't take care of him. Like, all the nannies, like, because Carden was a tyrant child. Because, I mean, nobody wanted him, right? I mean, who wouldn't be a tyrant child? So all his nannies, like, they just didn't, nobody could stand to deal with him because they were just scared of him all the time. So everybody's like, yeah, no, like, that woman is just, she's not good news. But if anybody's gonna have information about your mum or about some of the things that went on in the past, so like, you know, whoever, if anybody made deals or anything, is gonna be Lady Asha. But in true fairy style, she wanted something in return for giving information. She wanted to be released. Now at this point, Jude, she's not planning on telling Carden that his mother is still alive, because Carden doesn't know his mother is alive. Carden doesn't know that. So she isn't planning. Also, I'm really liking how my jawline looks and how this looks. Right, I'm not gonna sound creepy, but there's a really cute guy who lives on my road, and I'm like, are you too young for me? Like, are you my age, or are you like 19 or 20? Like, anyway, besides the point, Carden doesn't know his mom's alive. Carden never, all he has is bad memories of that woman. Like, that's all he has. He doesn't know anything good of her, but that's still his mum, right? Like, what do you want him to do? Like, that's still his mum. So it's kind of like, well, what do you want the boy to do? So she doesn't plan on telling him anything. Instead, what she's gonna do is she's just gonna deal with Lady Asha, you know, by herself. Like, you know, she'll sort out whatever she has to sort out, and eventually she'll tell Carden, right? Also, I'd like to point out Jude hardly sleeps. She's always running around working, like she's always trying to do something, which is a bit of her own making considering what she has to do, but she doesn't really have a choice at this point. Oh, that looks nice. Now we get to Tauren's wedding. Also, I just hope everybody knows that this isn't necessarily in chronological order of the book, because I did read the book like, you know, 2 months ago or 3. Let's talk about Tauren's wedding, shall we? Let's talk about that. So we all know Jude hates Locke, because Locke is just like the most disgusting player of them all. Even though he's attractive, that doesn't, you know, excuse him from anything. Jude agrees that, look, it's my twin sister's wedding. I'm gonna put aside all my hatred and everything else, and I'll just be nice, okay? Even Vivian's coming back, and she's breaking Oak, and, you know, all the family's gonna be here and everything. Like, I'll put all of that aside for Tauren's wedding, okay? I'll be nice. So, on her way now, because Tauren was still having like a bachelorette still, right? So it was like her, Jude, Vivian, and Vivian's girlfriend, right? So they were like having like a little bachelorette for Tauren at their old house. So where Jude and they grew up. Jude had gotten a present for her, because she's like, I'll be nice, to my sister's wedding. She got these pair of earrings that were made by one of the magical Grimson. So, you know, essentially he is like the blacksmith for the royal family. So she got him to make a pair of earrings that will make you look beautiful to anybody that sees you. But obviously there's like a little sneaky trick to it, because fairies. So she's on her way, riding through the forest and everything to get to their old estate, when some people, I think it's like 4 of them, I think, ambush her, right? Obviously they've got horses that are stronger and faster than hers. They're all fairies, they're all stronger and faster than she is, and they just start like, it seems like they're trying to kill her, so that she's just throwing axes and things at her, and she gets hit in her leg with a dagger, with a blade, like literally on her leg, so it gashes a hole in her leg, really. But she manages to get away from them, and she takes down 3 of is it 3? Yeah, she takes down 3 of them in the process, putting an axe through them. And not like, you know, normal, like a full-on battle axe that you see Jason Momoa throwing at things, like Jason Momoa throwing things. She gets that through one of them, and then they eventually, you know, just ride off and leave her. So she stumbles through the woods back to her house, says hi, runs to her bathroom, just says, I just need to change and everything. So Vivian comes in and finds her, and Vivian's like, what the actual hell happened to you? What have you done? And she was like, right, you need to not tell Tyron this, because it's the day before her wedding night, like you can't tell her this at all. And Vivian's like, okay, fine, whatever, just let me help you, right? So Vivian is like trying to stitch her up, and they do like a hack job of like stitching her up so that she, you know, doesn't bleed out and die. And then she just goes and has a little bachelorette night with her sister, because it's the night before her wedding night, right? But she lost the present, the earrings she'd had for her. So Jude's like, I had a present, but I dropped it on the way here, so I'm sorry. So we spoke about the, you know, the night before Tyron's wedding. We're gonna let that one, we're gonna park that one for a minute, because the actual wedding day is the actual wedding day is a whole shebang, man. A whole lot of stuff goes on that wedding day. What is important to know in this, and I didn't mention it in the first one because I knew it'd become incredibly relevant in the second one. Jude is just trying to avoid being alone with Carden at any given point. Because remember, he kind of got shot at and everybody thought he was trying to kill one of the ladies in his bed. Well, since then, he's kind of been sleeping in Jude's room. So he just kind of, just laying on her bed, and she just sitting there like oddly admiring him. And the reason for that, and the reason she hates to be in a room alone with him, and they both don't want to be alone with each other, is because in the first one, when she had him captive after the assassination of the coronation, she kissed him, and they kind of both enjoyed that a little bit too much. So they're both like, yeah, I have feelings for you, but they refuse to acknowledge it, right? Duh. So we all know where this is gonna go. I don't even need to tell you. Like, you know where this is gonna go. And why does my eyebrow look so wonky? Hold up, let me fix that. Okay, that's better. Yeah, so they're just trying to avoid spending any sort of time with each other, and they're like, I don't really want to do that. But Carden, he's just having revel after revel and just having parties, and everybody's getting drunk and all this, and Jude is like, you need to calm the hell down, boy. Like, you chill. Like, I get you want to make everybody happy and all this, but you need to calm the hell down, please, because you're making my job a lot harder. Which he quite frankly don't care about, to be honest with you. He don't really care. So remember Lady Asha? Well, Jude goes and talks to her. Or she talks to Belkin and Lady Asha usually at the same time, because they're both in the Tower of Forgetting. So she's trying to get information out of that woman, and she agrees that she will let her out of the Tower of Forgetting, providing she leaves Elfhame and never returns. So Lady Asha, she's like, okay, yeah, cool, sure, I'll do that. I'll leave. I don't even like it here anyway, so I'll leave. That's fine. And Jude, gets whatever information she has to get out of Lady Asha. She gets that out of Lady Asha. So we get to Tauren's wedding, and this is where everything just goes off, right? It's just like, what the hell is happening? Everybody's there. So Oak, he comes back from the human world, and he's there as well. Jude is there. She's all strapped up and ready. All of the other spies are there as well, because they're not, willing to let anything happen to her. Because if something happens to her, something happens to the king. And they're not ready for all of that. And then, so like at the wedding, the way, hold on, I need to do that. I can't do this part either, but essentially I'm just running a black liner on my lid, on my water line, really close to my eyelash. So they're all there for the wedding. Everybody's playing nice, because, it's a wedding. They're gonna at least try to play nice with everybody. Maddox tries to talk to Jude, but Jude is like, she's just not having any of it. And she's like, yeah, I really ain't got time for you, quite honestly. And then the thing with fairy weddings is you don't need a congregation like you would for a normal human wedding. It just needs to happen between the two parties, because, and obviously like some sort of like minister, because in fairy, your word is gospel. Like, you cannot break a promise, even if it's like verbal, really. And then what Jude realizes when they come out is Locke is limping, and Tyron is wearing the earrings that Jude... So Locke is limping, and Jude is wearing the earrings that she was meant to give to Tyron. And Jude said, she was like, well, what the hell? Why do you have them? So she realizes that the people that actually attacked her in the forest that night was Locke. Obviously, she has no physical proof that it is Locke, but in her head and in her gut, she knows, like, no, it was Locke that did it. Like, it was definitely them. So everybody just merry and happy and going around doing their thing. And then Jude gets word that Bilkin has escaped from the Tower of Forgetting, which is really bad, because if he did, yeah, things just aren't going to end well if he escaped from the tower, essentially. So she just like rushes off to the tower thinking, yeah, it's fine, I'll get back and nobody will realize and it'll be fine, everybody will still be partying and whatever. She gets there, sees that he is indeed gone, and then the next thing she knows, she's been restricted by somebody, and then the person in front of her is the Roach. Now, bear in mind, the Roach was the leader of the Court of Spies, who, you know, was Dane's favourite. The Roach, he literally says to her, I'm not sworn to you, I'm sworn to Dane, and then jumps out a window, and then Jude just gets knocked out. This time, nobody has any idea where she is, everybody's at the party, they're doing their thing, and nobody's, you know, aware of anything else, really. And before she gets knocked out, she's just so confused, she's wondering, like, what the hell has happened, like, he should not have been able to escape that easily. Somebody had to let him out and everything, and then obviously she realizes it's the Roach that let him out. So, and when she wakes up, the next thing she knows is she's in the underworld. She is now Oleg's prisoner at sea. She, they tried to put a geese on her to kind of get her to do what they wanted, but obviously she already had Dane's geese on her, so they couldn't glamour her. Being smart as she is, she just kind of went along with it. Right? And she was like, right, no, it's fine. Like, nothing's gonna happen. I'll be okay. I could fake it for a while. And all they were giving her, they were trying to glamour her to realize that it was to think that she was in a very fluffy, comfy bed. She was only drinking proper right water, because obviously you can't drink seawater and live. Duh. And that everything they were feeding her was, you know, nice, good food that she could eat. In the underworld, who's there? Oleg and Blake and Balkan. So she was right in her assumption that Bilkin was conspiring with the Undersea. And also, what's her face? The princess is there. Nakaya, she's there as well. So she's having fun because she doesn't like Jude. She really doesn't like Jude. And poor Jude, bless her, she's just trying to stay alive. So loads of time passes in the Undersea. I think it's like 2 weeks or something like that. And then eventually she gets released and they take her back up to the sea. And then who's there waiting for her? Garden and the entire army. And he's just like, I wasn't gonna because she honestly thought he would have left her. She genuinely thought Garden would have left her there to die in the Undersea, right? And she's like, what? You came back for me? And he's like, well, yeah, of course I would. All this time, they were getting, like, there were the little things there, just there. Like, she would find herself looking at him and admiring him, and he would, my mom's talking on the phone to my aunts, by the way, and Caribbean families allowed. And he was, you know, starting to also realize his feelings for her at the same time. So she's just like, I did not expect you to come rescue me. They had to negotiate some way of releasing her. So the only way for Oleg to release Jude would have been if Bilkin just became like an ambassador for the Undersea. So they had to send him up as well. And she did not like this at all, like, because she hated the guy, really. She was just very grateful to, you know, be alive and be back on land. Also, do we like this? Are we liking this? Because I very much am. I'm really liking this right now. Oh, I like this. I'm digging this eye. It's really dark, but I'm really digging it. Ooh. So when Jude gets back and everything, they take her back to her normal room and like to her quarters and whatever. And Carden comes in and they have their conversations, and she's like, well, why did you save me? You didn't have to. They talk about, you know, okay, bear in mind, they had already like had an encounter where they realized like, we might actually have feelings for each other, but they just ignored it as well. And even though it's for him to ignore it, he just went around doing what he did best, you know, just hooking up with any fair person who, you know, wanted a bit of the High King. But he still had a big soft spot for Jude. He had a big soft spot for her. And I think everybody realized that. So that sort of like, you know, continued while, you know, while she was recovering and everything. And, you know, they kind of just like did what they had to do, really. Ooh, my cousin's having a baby. Basically, like, Balkan, he tried to play nice as much as he could, but obviously Jude hated him. Jude hated that man, and he was conspiring to get Carden off the throne. He wanted to poison him, and so obviously Jude and all the other spies, they figured that out, and they obviously told Carden, and Carden was like, no, you're not killing him, like, because Carden, he doesn't like murder. I mean, it's purely because of the way he grew up. I mean, let's be honest, it's not exactly surprising that he doesn't like murder. It is really not. So Carden's like, you're not killing him, you're not doing it, like, point blank, we will find another way, but you're not killing my brother, you little psycho killer. All the other spies, they knew about this, and they were like, right, well, Jude will take your lead. Like, if you, whatever you think it needs to be done, we'll do it. But, you know, at the same time, we kind of need protection, because obviously they didn't want to die either. And she really was trying her best to not kill him. She really didn't want to, because all this time her and Cotton, they were getting really, really close. She realized that, because Nakaya had told her at some point as well, that remember the dress that you wore for the coronation wasn't actually the dress that you'd ordered? Who do you think got that dress ordered for you? It was Cotton. Cotton ordered her that dress. Cotton wanted her to wear it. So they were getting closer and closer all this time. Dude's a virgin, to point out right now, she's a virgin. Her and Cotton had spent a few nights together in the same bed. They hadn't slept together or anything. They just, you know, spent the night together in the same bed. And the book is very detailed as to how she felt, like how his tail felt against her leg and all of that. They'd poisoned Cotton, is what they genuinely poisoned Cotton, because Balkan wanted, you know, to be king. So Balkan had poisoned Cotton, and Jude and the bomb had a plan to get it back, to, you know, to get the antidote from Balkan, because Balkan was like, I'm not giving you the antidote unless you make me king. So they had a plan to get it back, and they did. Subsequently, they did get so they had the antidote, and then the bomb took it back so that, you know, Cotton wouldn't die. Jude and Balkan ended up having a duel for some reason. I can't remember why. He was about to surrender, but before she could realize what she was doing, she'd slit his throat. She was like, yeah, I kind of messed up here, because he's the brother of the guy that I actually do really love. And I was like, ooh, this is not smart. So she went back to tell Cotton this, right? When she gets back to try to tell Cotton this, Cotton makes a proposition. Cotton asks her to marry him. And these fantasy fiction books, that's really not the weirdest thing to happen. It was like, yeah, we could have told you two were gonna get married. You two would have fallen in love anyway. So she's like, wait, what? He's like, marry me, and you'll be queen of Eltham. You'll be free to do what you want to do. And she's like, well, what do you want in return? And so he was like, well, release me of the contract that we have. And she's like, a little bit suspicious, but okay. And obviously, because you don't need a congregation and a proper wedding ceremony, they kind of just did it then and there, like, said their vows to each other, and that was it. They were married, right? She failed to mention to him that I killed your brother. She failed to mention that. And then the morning after, because bear in mind, the only reason they let Jude out of the underworld and didn't kill her, and the only way for them to stop having a gigantic war with the Undersea, was provided that Balkan was alive. And if he died, the Undersea would just wreak havoc on the land, really. So the morning after their marriage, a guard comes in and they're like, your brother's dead. And Colin's like, well, did you not think to tell me that you killed my brother? Did you not think to do that? So they go out to, you know, the shoreline and everything to meet Oleg and talk to her and everything. So Jude, you know, she's like, yeah, I killed him. I did it. And so Cotton's like, he's like, okay, fine, I'll play into, you know, what Oleg wants and find my butler. And he was like, Jude, you're banished. Obviously not in those words. He did his grand thing because he's Cotton and he could do it. And he's like, you're banished until the crown says otherwise. And at this point she's like, boy, but I'm the queen of Elfheim. Like, what are you chatting about? Like, you can't banish me. Remember that Cotton's a trickster. Like, just bear that in mind right now. Cotton is a big trickster, right? And he does genuinely have a good heart. So just remember that for this point in time, he's a big trickster. And Joji's like, but you can't exile me. Like, I am the queen of Elfheim. And everybody's just like, no, you're not. But obviously Cotton hasn't said anything because he can't lie. He can't say, no, she's not. So he just didn't say anything at all. And they caught her off to, you know, get her stuff, and then they banish her out of Elfheim. So yeah, that's pretty much it. After Cotton banishes her, she goes to live in the human world with Vivian and Oak. Vivian's girlfriend, because she came to the wedding as well, she made a deal, or she was talking to these two people, and she got turned in, or she got, you know, like fox ears and stuff, and it kind of like traumatized her. So she so her and Vivian were on rocky terms. Hold on, my mum just casually went down the flat. Yeah, so Vivian's girlfriend and her, they were on rocky terms, and they weren't exactly living together anymore. Vivian's girlfriend's name is Heather, by the way. I never said that, but you know. So they're on rocky terms, and she just sat there like, well, what am I gonna do? I'm a queen without a country to rule. So that's sort of where it ends. Yeah, this is it. This is also how my makeup turned out. I am in love with this. I'm getting like, oh, I'm actually fully in love with how I look right now. Like, I look good. So this was a very chaotic story time, but we're gonna roll with it. And if you enjoyed this and you enjoy seeing my face, remember to like my video, share it to everybody, to your grandma, your auntie, your uncle, your dog, your cat, your niece, your nephew, the hot guy who lives next door to you. Share it to everybody, why not? And if you haven't already subscribed to my Instagram, I'll put my username right down here. I'll put also a link to my Instagram in the description box, so you know you can kind of like check out my Instagram, because why not? I also just got into TikTok, so we'll see if I ask you for TikTok as well soon. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I didn't bore you to death. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. So until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye, angels.